Hello, my name is Joshua Thomas and welcome back to episode 2 of The Geek Show. This week on the show we'll be talking about upcoming DVD releases, comic book TV shows and some teasers for tonight's episode of Doctor Who. Next week's DVD releases will be Spider-Man 2, which we will be reviewing on next week's show on September the 6th, and after that there'll be DVD releases from Arrow Season 2, which we will also be reviewing, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1. But because there's a lot of buzz surrounding upcoming TV shows like Gotham coming out soon, I'm going to run through some of the best ones out there to whet your appetite until the new TV show season begins this winter. Number 1 is Smallville. Running for 10 seasons from 2001 until 2011, it showed Superman before he put on the infamous tights, and we see Clark Kent grow up without his superpowers, and then he sort of comes into them in his teenage years and grows up in Smallville, the town where he landed on. Comic book fans loved seeing all the references to comic books. There was a lot of characters that came from the comic books. Iconic characters like Lois Lane and less known characters as well, which made the show's dynamic between the characters much more interesting. Characters like Lois Lane appeared in season 4, Oliver Queen, also known as the Green Arrow, appeared in season 6, and more villains like Doomsday and General Zod showed up in seasons 8 and season 9. I came in late to the show, coming into it halfway through in about season 5, but I caught up and I fell in love with it all the same. Going into the show knowing that it's not about Superman, but at the same time it is about Superman before he became Superman, it can be a little bit, it can make you a little bit hesitant, but it's got solid character development and it's got good attention to source material from the original comic books that makes this show a must-see. Still on the topic of Superman, another TV show that delves into the escapades of the infamous Man of Steel is Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. This ran for 4 seasons and it started in, I think it was 1993 or 1994, but it's still good. This is especially enjoyable if you're a fan of the character of Clark Kent without his costume on. We see his relationships with his parents, who found him on the field all those years ago when he crashed from Krypton. His co-workers at the Daily Planet, like Perry White and Jimmy Olsen, and more importantly Lois Lane, who we all know is Superman's girlfriend. This show sees them to meet for the first time and them to work together as co-workers in the Daily Planet. She doesn't know about his secret identity, but as the series progresses, we get to see Lois Lane, the reporter, get to work and sort of figure it out, and then we get to see Clark Kent, the reporter, as he first joined the Daily Planet and as he sort of met all these interesting characters. And like Smallville, we get to see loads of famous characters, we get to see loads of Easter eggs, we get to see big names from the comic books and characters from the comic books all come into this one show. It only ran for 4 seasons, but we do get to see things like Krypton and just loads of different characters and Easter eggs that big comic book fans may recognise from the comic books. Number 3 is Arrow. Now this has only just recently started. It started back in 2012, and at first, if you're not a fan of comic books, you may not be familiar with the Green Arrow character, but for comic book fans they'll know who he is, and obviously I'm a fan of the comic books and I went into the show sort of expecting too much from it. It doesn't nail down the character of the Green Arrow straight away. It does take a while to get into this show. It took about 14 episodes for me into season 1, but we get introduced to Oliver Queen. He was stranded on an island for 5 years. He comes back and he tries to right the wrongs of his father, who did a lot of dirty business with big companies in the city, and Oliver tries to right the wrongs of his father. We get to see him transition into a vigilante, not known as the Green Arrow, but known as the Hood instead. We also get to see flashbacks to the island, how he came to be, how he came to survive. Again, like Lois and Clark and Smallville, there's a lot of Easter eggs from the comic books. Most people, if you read the comic books, you'll see some of the other characters and you'll hear their names and you'll think, oh, I know who that is. And that happens quite a lot. It's still running. The 3rd season will be airing in October, and like we're going to do with most things, we're going to go back and we're going to watch season 1 and season 2 and review those and catch up and sort of let you know what's going on before it comes back on. But yeah, it takes a while to get in for some people. if you like superhero things, you'd love Arrow. It's really good. The character development also is very good. Storylines, they flash back to the island and then back to modern times. It's all connected. It's really good. If you like things like Lost, for example, it's like a reverse Lost where we get to see flashbacks to the island instead of flashbacks to and Lost when they had flashbacks to their lives. We just get to see the reverse. It's really good. It's all connected as a storyline, and it all culminates at the end, and then there's a cliffhanger in season 1, and we still don't know what's going to happen in season 3, like by what I said. We'll recap that. And finally is a spin-off from Arrow called The Flash. Most people know this character. Episode 1 has recently leaked when it was shown at Comic-Con, and I watched it, like most people. It hit the ground heavy, this show. Unlike Arrow, it took a while to get into it, but it does get into it a lot. Yeah. That's coming out soon, first week of October. And now we're going to go over to some sponsors and fill you in about those. This episode of The Geek Show is sponsored by Epiphany Creative Solutions. This is a company that has worked with us at LeslieTown.com before, and it is in its first year of trading. Epiphany covers everything from app development to web design and hosting. Also sponsoring the show are Mighty Media Productions. This company has done 99% of videos for LeslieTown.com throughout the year and is a specialist in film and media. Now we're here with Sam, who's going to talk about this week's game news.
Hello everyone.
So what have you got for us this week, Sam?
Well, the biggest thing that's happened in the gaming world this week is that a lot of DDoSes got hacked. DDoSes are things like PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, Blizzard's been hacked, which is very big. Dota 2, which is one of the biggest, basically one of the biggest games out there, has been hacked as well. Also, another big thing that happened is that I think it was the lead chairman of PlayStation Network, I'm not sure, his plane actually got hacked.
His plane?
Yes, his plane. I'm not sure on the details. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are threatening with bombs on the plane. It's just been a lot of havoc lately.
So how big of an impact has this had on the gaming world and the gaming industry with all the hacking that's gone on?
Strangely enough, not a lot has really happened. PlayStation Network went down for an hour. Xbox Live wasn't down for long. Everything seemed to recover pretty quickly, so there's some pretty bad hackers.
Well, luckily. Anything else you got for us this week?
Well, one of the biggest things that happened to me, because something I personally love, is that the season finale of The Walking Dead Season 2 game made by Telltale has been released, and I've got to say it ended very well. I was bawling my eyes out for the entire credits.
So it was an emotional ending.
It's extremely emotional. I got to say to people, I might say some spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, I recommend skipping this bit just in case something slips out.
So with the games, do they tie in to the characters in the show, or the characters in the show in the game?
They in the whole Walking Dead Season 1, Season 2,
yeah,
it is in the exact same universe as the TV show and the comics, except it's not. For example, in Season 1, Episode 1, because every season has 5 episodes, in Episode 1 of Season 1, you meet Glenn from the TV series. You find out how he came to go to Atlanta, and you help him, he helps you. In Episode 1 is also you go towards the start of the game, you go to Herschel's farm, which is nice. Something bad goes down there. So
it serves as a prequel as well.
It kind of does, but it also is its own thing completely.
So there's the new characters you can play as well.
Oh yeah, in Season 1 you play as a character called Lee, who meets towards the start of the game you meet a little girl called Clementine. I think she's 9 years old when you meet her, 8 years old. And basically, throughout the entire season 1, you spend like helping her, meeting people along the way, but mainly it's just you're the main two.
So it's a kind of a story-driven game.
Yes, it's very story-driven. It's all about like talking to people, picking decisions. The great thing about the Walking Dead game, though, is that there's never really a right decision in any situation. You would always think, like in a video game, like there's the blatant good choice, there's the blatant bad choice. Throughout this entire game, the choice has never been like that. It's always felt like both decisions are bad. So both decisions are going to be like affecting you in a bad way at some point.
So does it suffer from any of the pacing problems that the TV show does? Because as a fan, it really does seem to drag on for some of the decisions.
No, it's the great thing about this game is it's paced very well. All the voice actors are fantastic. I'm pretty sure that year, season 1 came out, they basically snatched up all awards at the joystick awards. They got they got the lead voice actor awards for the person who did Lee Everett. The supporting voice actor who did Clementine also got an award. They got best story, I don't know if they got best music. They got best animation or something like that. But it didn't get best engine, I'm pretty sure. But it's fantastic. If you haven't played it, it's probably the game I can recommend the most. And season 2 just is even better than better.
That's available now on
Xbox Live. It's available on Steam and also available on the PlayStation Network.
Awesome. Well, now we're going to go over to Jack, where we're going to talk about some comic book topics this week. Okay, so now we're here with Jack, who we're going to be having a discussion with about topics in the comic book world this week.
Well, not a lot has happened in the comic book world this week. There has been some news, but I'd really like to touch upon the topic after going back and looking through some of the lists. I found a lot of expanded universes for things like video games like Halo and Mass Effect, and, TV shows like Doctor Who and even Buffy the Vampire Slayer. A lot of companies now seem to be going back and expanding their universes through using the comics.
Yeah.
And I just find it really interesting because I'm a big video game fan as I am comics. So seeing something like Mass Effect, being able to give some more backstory and doing the fans a real service.
Nice bit of flavour text to go along with it.
Yeah, it really does add to the game, because I'm not sure, but in Mass Effect, when you're going through servers, they start referencing the characters from some of the comics and some of the graphic novels, and it's really interesting. And it's the same with the Halo universe. It's turned into something really big now, but I kind of like to touch upon the topic of what would you guys like to see when it comes to expanded universes? Well,
this was the thing. I had a problem with it at first because, one of my favourite TV shows was Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and after that finished, they released a comic book series. And although now they found their footing, we're in season 10 and the comic book series started in season 8. They found their footing now, but at first they in comic books they didn't have a budget. And I think they took advantage of that too much, and I think that ruined it. Like, they'd done things they would not be able to do in the TV show due to money, but they did in the comic book show, in the comic books, and it just took it to a level that was just too much. And so I didn't like it at first.
Felt a bit more unrealistic.
Yeah, but I think with video games, the Tomb Raider comic, have you read the Tomb Raider comic?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was... it stayed true to Tomb Raider, but I just didn't enjoy the storyline. Do you think that sometimes an expanded universe can expand it too much and ruin the source material? Or?
Sometimes. It's the same with the Halo comics that I find now. A lot of it... one thing that I'm very grateful for with the Halo comics is that they did fix Commander Palmer. Because when playing the game, she seemed really just... well, not a bad character, just seemed really undeveloped and just really snarky. But they managed to fix her in the comics and give her a bit more backstory and a bit more depth, which I do appreciate. But some of the early comics that they released just really didn't seem to match up well. Like, I find the problem is that when you give it into hands that aren't the companies, they seem to screw around the continuity a bit, and it really does mess with it quite a lot. Because they did one of the books for the Ghost of Onyx, I think it was, and Fall of Reach. When they made Halo Reach, it confused a lot of the fans of the series, and it messed with the continuity, which people have found ways to fix, but it does create a bit more of a headache. But when it's done right, I feel it is done extraordinarily well, and I really do enjoy it when there seems more to it and it gets more in depth than just, I don't know, playing the video game or watching the series. Like, you can really get into it, and it feels something like it's tangible.
So as far as expanded universes go, what do you think is the one that stays true to the source material but still sort of goes into new territory?
I would have to say the Halo universe.
Yeah.
Just because they've done graphic novels, they've done books, and they've done comics, and it's all just really getting well crafted now. It's given the attention that it deserves. But so obviously there's a lot more out there, but it's just Halo and Mass Effect, and you know, these are two franchises that are really close to my heart. I really do enjoy them, and it's nice to see that they're finally given more. But yeah, it is very good to see.
So that's it for this week's comic book news. We'll be back with more next week, but now we're going to go over and answer a few questions that people have sent in, if that's okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so people have been sending in their questions, and we've got a few to answer. So we're going to start with Jonathan sent in, who is your favourite superhero and why? It's quite a tough one, because there's so many.
For me, it's probably Spider-Man, just because his comics are fantastic.
Yeah.
I haven't read bad ones really. A lot of people like say Tobey Maguire was terrible, but I felt like he played the Peter Parker role pretty well. So I quite enjoyed the films. Even the new Amazing Spider-Man one's pretty good, even though Andrew Garfield really isn't the right choice for Peter Parker because he's too good looking.
Yeah, I suppose that is the problem, as Spider-Man was always supposed to be, you know, the real geek's representation in the comic book world.
Yeah.
But for my favourite, I'd have to say Batman. I've been a fan ever since a little kid. It's just, I don't know, the dark, menacing feel to it makes it feel like he's not goody two-shoes, and it's, you know, it's just really, really cool.
I mean, back then with the animated series and all the
Oh, such a good series.
I just think anyone in the X-Men. I don't think I got a favourite superhero. I think mine's a superhero team. It's definitely the X-Men. As long as it's not the movie X-Men, because they suck. If you could be the Doctor, who would you have as your companion? That was from Howell.
Can this just be anyone outside of Doctor Who, or can it just have to stick to Doctor Who?
Screw it. Anyone. Make it more fun.
If I had to pick, it would probably be Keith David. He is a person that does the voice for Arbiter in Halo. He also does the voice of Captain Anderson in Mass Effect. And also he's in the Saints Row 4 game. You played that? You played that game? Remember Keith David at all? He was like, he was your vice president.
Yes, got it.
Yes, him. He would be my companion.
This is a strange choice, but okay. What about you?
I would say Keith David too, but as I can't, I don't know. I'd probably pick someone like Liam Neeson, just because he's like a total badass.
I'd probably pick Lara Croft.
Lara Croft's a good choice.
You could raid tombs. What Star Wars character do you most relate to? And that's from Jonathan as well.
I want to say Boba Fett, but I know I don't relate to it in any way. So I gotta probably go for someone like who sits around a lot and does nothing. It's probably someone like you would do.
I'd probably
sit
go
down to a lot.
with Jabba the Hutt because I like to just lie down and eat food.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't?
I don't know. I'd probably be the Emperor just because I like doing bad stuff just because of the hell of
For
it.
the hell of it. Still on the subject of Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Star Wars, definitely.
Star Trek's good,
Indeed.
but it's just Star Wars. It's
I've
Star
never
Wars.
been a Star Trek fan. It's just,
It's too much to get. It's kind of
Yes.
intimidating to sort of get into it because there's so
Yeah.
much of it.
yeah.
It's like if you wanted to get into Doctor Who now, it's very intimidating because there's a lot.
I started from 2005 series and I got into it quite well. I mean, it can be a bit thin.
I'm saying like now, if you wanted to watch Doctor Who from, if you wanted to get to Capaldi, but you wanted to watch from like 9th Doctor onwards, it's quite a lot to go through.
I suppose so. But I've been watching it for like, well, nearly 10 years now, so I wouldn't know what it's like to go back and catch up on all of them, but I do see where you're coming from in the sense that you look at it and you're like, where do I start? Just don't start from 1964, otherwise you're screwed. What's your reaction to the new Pokemon game? And I think that's
Pokemon.
Yeah, that's Tekken and Pokemon.
I love how Game Freak's coming up with all these like different ideas now, because like some of their greatest games, such as like Pokemon Snap, are just like random ideas that they can just come up with. So I've got high hopes for this.
I don't play Pokemon. I mean, I played Pokemon years ago, but I didn't play it recently. But I used to love Tekken. That is exciting.
I'm actually quite excited for this. I mean, like, last week I was totally stuck in my ways, just like, the new Pokemon are terrible, but I don't think I'd like playing as the new Pokemon, but just seeing them in a decent fighting game, I can feel like that I'm not just a trainer ordering out the moves, I can just be like an actual Pokemon.
Yeah,
doing
you're the
stuff.
Pokemon now. It's kind of like Mystery
Yeah.
Dungeon in a way, but more like fighting game.
So it's
Yeah.
not going to be like the other Pokemon games where you're this character walking around and stuff. You're just going to get to kick ass as a Pokemon.
Yes. It's a
Think
fighting
of
game.
Stadium, but instead of like ordering the moves, you're actually the Pokemon performing the moves.
So it's a yay from both of you two then.
Yes.
I'm quite excited for
Big
it.
yay.
Awesome. Well, now we're going to go on to play this week's game, and this week we're going to be drawing an idea of what you think would be a good idea for a new Spider-Man mask, which is going to be fun. And go! We're done. Okay. I'll let you two go first because I don't know what mine is.
Right.
Are you ready?
Obviously, it wouldn't be in blue, but it's an actual spider as a
That
head.
looks actually quite cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It would certainly change your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Mine is just because I wanted to get a pun out, really. But it's just a Spider-Man mask, but it's got an apple on it, and he's Cider-Man. No.
Oh God.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Right. I don't know what mine is. There's literally nothing I can say about
Let's have a look.
it. I don't know.
It's like Venom.
I panicked.
It looks like Jack Skellington mixed with Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought in my head
Skellington Man.
when I was not thinking about it.
Skellington Man.
So, safe to say, I don't win.
I'm gonna go with you just because of just high creativity. Just
Yeah.
I'll go
You
with
see
you
what-
because of that reason, but I laughed.
Well, I'd have voted for you because that's not Spider-Man. That's an apple.
Okay. So
Spider-Man! Yeah, no, I'm gonna go that made me laugh a lot.
okay, so
Same.
we've all voted like a different person. So do we all win?
Why not? For once.
We all
This is-
win.
Yeah.
Yay!
Let's go. Okay,
Plans work.
now we're gonna go back and answer a few more questions.
Lovely.
Got 5 more questions. Starting with this one. I'm a fan of the X-Men movies. What comic should I read to get into the comic book series? I would go for Wolverine and the X-Men, or
That's a good choice.
All New X-Men and Battle of the Atom.
I go for Wolverine next.
Have you read that? So good.
Only like one or two, but like they were good.
It captures the X-Men really good because they're in school and they're having fun with their powers, which we don't get to see in the film.
I'd say if you can, just try and find some old school ones.
As long as they don't use that line that Storm used in the first film, then it's a good comic. I mean, I don't even have to say what the line is.
No. It brings back bad memories.
Yeah, a little bit.
Something that I repressed a long time ago.
Yeah,
Huge
that was the
jacked
worst line. Like, not even Brett
Yeah,
Ratner, who ruined the third film, would have done that.
She was such a bad casting choice. It's just no.
man. Okay, next question.
Yeah, we need to move on.
Oh, this one's good. Favourite Marvel soundtrack? Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians
Hands
of the
down.
Galaxy.
Yeah.
Hands down.
You can't
Actually,
beat the awesome mix.
I prefer the Iron Man.
Iron
Just
Man's
because
good.
it's got
AC/DC,
and
yeah.
It's just
I don't think you can beat the awesome mix though, because there's so many good, like 80s,
They have the Runaways on there, therefore they win.
or 80s, 60s and stuff.
They have the Runaways Cherry Bomb. That's like the best song ever.
yeah.
Hooked on a feeling.
That's a good song. Oh, also, what is it? There was a song from a comic book film that I really liked. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, next question. What geeky clothes are on your wish list? What geeky clothes do you want?
So like, well, there are a couple like going back to Walking Dead. Clementine owns a cap, and it's the next cap I want to get. I want to swap it out.
Do they sell them?
Yes, but they're quite expensive.
Oh, they would be, wouldn't they?
They're good caps though.
I definitely just want to strut around in a bright purple suit with with the green and just
And the flower.
Joker.
yeah. I don't think I'd be able to get away with the acid squirt and flower though, but I could just have a normal flower.
For what, I mean?
We live
Go on
in
then.
Slashley, I'm sure you'll get away with that.
Just put on the dough in it, it looks like acid.
I guess. I
What's
think I
wrong
could
with a
get away with
t-shirt that does not kill people?
it. Yeah, it's no fun.
Okay.
I probably want a Justice League collection of hoodies. I mean, I've got the Green Lantern one.
Lovely.
No, I just want Batman, Flash.
Put them in glass cases on a wall.
That'd be actually quite good. I can
Like
do
Batman does in the Batcave.
Yeah, I was just
With
gonna
all-
say, with like tubes and stuff.
With all
I
the
like
Marvel
Iron Man with
suits.
the. I mean, this is, I know it's Marvel, just
But
as
yeah.
big, but do like Iron Man style with his suits.
Or you could do
Yeah,
what I
just
did.
don't attach the explosives
Yeah.
because that would kind of like defeat the objective if you had the Iron Man suits.
Says the one who wants an acid flower.
Hey, I have to walk through Station Road to go
Yeah,
home.
if you're Station Road, get some acid off them.
Just don't do what I do and go to Tesco and buy a Batman t-shirt and then walk around town and see everybody wearing the same t-shirt as you that they put in Tesco do.
Yeah.
What's your favourite game series?
Ever.
Ever. Just say ever.
Halo.
Hello?
Halo's fantastic.
There's too many to pick. I'd be doing an injustice to one series if I picked one of the other.
I have to say Tomb Raider.
Too
I've
many.
been playing that game series since I was like 6 years old.
Mhm.
And it was always so good to do. And I still am. Yay me. So you're on the fence. You don't know what to pick.
I don't know what to pick. There's so many good series and so many good franchises I just can't pick.
It is a little bit, it's like going to a shop when you're a kid and looking at all this stuff. But that's it for this week's show. Come back next week and we'll be talking about Spider-Man 2, which will be getting released on DVD, and we'll be giving that a review. So thank you for watching. Thank you,
Ta-ta.
guys.
Bye.
I'm in Josh's set. Whoop whoop.
Get off me set!
Aww.